It is my pleasure today to welcome you to this graduation ceremony on behalf of the Wingate University Board of Trustees. This ceremony is of necessity and safety, different from what we normally do and what you and your families had hoped for. There is a time in life when it is appropriate to tell your story. This is the time I'm choosing to tell mine. As soon as I say this, I know there's a question that arises in the minds of many of you. So to save all of us the embarrassment, I will ask it myself. Who cares? Who cares to hear about someone who was born, educated, married, started work, had 2 children, and never more than 1 dog at a time? But I tell this story, even if on the one hand, very few things are less important, but on the other hand, virtually nothing is more important. For if I tell it the right way, you will know that my story intersects and overlaps with your story. And in many ways, my story and your story have much in common. It is through these stories, in all of their sameness and in all of their oddities, that we understand each other and gain fresh insight into ourselves. With this increasing insight and understanding, we become fully human. Further, it is not possible to become fully human and not understand our relationship to the God of creation. To lose track of our stories is to be impoverished, not only humanly, but spiritually too. My story is largely written. You've only finished 4 chapters of a 16-chapter story. Tomorrow you start on chapter 5. Make the rest of your story something you want to tell and something other people will want to hear.
Hi, my name is Sergio Castello. I serve as the Dean of the Porter B. Byram School of Business. I am pleased to announce the winner of the A.F. Hendricks Award is Kyle Ring. Aside from being Kyle's advisor, I had the pleasure to having him in class. He was very thoughtful and observant and always willing to help his classmates. And I wish him well in his future endeavors. Congratulations, Kyle.
Hi, this is Carrie Hefferly, Dean of General Education and History Professor. It is my great pleasure to announce this year's winner of the C.C. Burris Award, Gracie McAllister. Congratulations, Gracie. You have been an outstanding student for the last 4 years that I've known you. I've enjoyed having you in all my history classes. I've enjoyed having you as my peer mentor and as my work studies student. You are such a hard worker and such a giver, a person who serves willingly and eagerly, who excels in scholarship, an honors program graduate, a minor in international studies, a minor in Spanish, and a major in history. You are amazing. Congratulations.
Hi, I'm Barbara Pan, Assistant Professor of Communication. Today's recipient has overcome many obstacles to reach this milestone. Not only has she persevered through personal challenges, but she used those challenges to educate and encourage others. While she pushed her own limits, she always showed empathy for others. I'm honored today to present the Fred H. Allen Award for Christian Leadership and Service to Kirby Von Egedy.
Hello, my name is Dr. Erica Nyland. I'm an associate professor and chair of the biology department. I am pleased to announce Manny Sanchez as the winner of this year's Bud E. and Ethel K. Smith Award. I met Manny when she was a sophomore, and she's been a research student of mine for the last 3 years. She has the utmost scientific integrity, a great work ethic, and she is the head lead tutor mentoring students in both middle school, high school, and here at the university. It is a pleasure to have known her, and I wish her all the best in her future endeavors.
The 2020 Quartz Award recipient is Dr. Edwin Bagley. Dr. Edwin Bagley served as C.C. Dixon Professor of Ethics and Professor of Philosophy at Wingate University from 1981 until his retirement in 2020. During his tenure at Wingate, Professor Bagley led students in international groups to South Korea, China, Cambodia, Russia, France, England, and Germany. He supervised the semester abroad program Wingate in London on 2 occasions. A former student commented, "Dr. Bagley is an amazing professor who always allows students to express their points of view and appreciates their perspectives. He is kind and wants students to have fun with the material." The 2020 O'Neill Award recipient is Dr. Chelsea Kaufman. Dr. Kaufman joined Wingate's faculty in 2018 as an assistant professor of political science. Her area of specialization is the field of rural politics, and she teaches courses in American government, global perspectives in political science and economics, and research methods. Prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, Dr. Kaufman taught a We Engage course focusing on voting rights that included a bus trip through the Deep South with a stop at the Edmund Pettus Bridge on the anniversary of Bloody Sunday. In nominating her for this award, one of her students commented, "Dr. Kaufman is a champion for minority education and aims to help all students grow and reach new heights." The 2021 Quartz Award winner is Dr. Allison Brown. Dr. Brown served as chair of the Department of Biology for several years and was instrumental in establishing a $50,000 endowment from GlaxoSmithKline to provide scholarships for female biology and chemistry majors. Allison also led in developing an articulation agreement between Wingate University and the Edward Via College of Osteopathic Medicine, paving the way for many of our graduates to pursue medical studies following graduation. She has mentored several students conducting research with her at the USDA Sheep Experiment Station in Idaho. Commenting on Dr. Brown's skills in teaching and mentoring, a student noted, "If you ever feel as though there is no way you will succeed, she will remind you that you will, and she will make sure of nothing less." The 2021 O'Neill Award winner is Dr. Christy Cobb. Dr. Cobb joined Wingate's faculty in 2018 as an assistant professor of religion. Dr. Cobb has attracted numerous students to pursue a major or minor in religious studies through her engaging teaching and strong mentorship. She published a book in 2019 titled Slavery, Gender, Truth, and Power in Luke to Acts and Other Ancient Narratives. A graduating senior commented, "My ultimate career goal is to become a professor one day, and I can say that if I can be half the professor and role model that Dr. Cobb is, I will have succeeded."
Dr. Sarah Knisely has been named the 2019-2020 Graduate Faculty Member of the Year. Dr. Knisely joined Wingate University School of Pharmacy in 2016 as a clinical pharmacist. Her contributions to the School of Pharmacy during the last year are numerous, including precepting 7 advanced pharmacy practice experienced students, re-establishing an online integrative medicine elective, and establishing a postgraduate education preparatory elective for 3rd and 4th year student pharmacists. A student pharmacist summarized his experience on rotation with Dr. Knisely with the following statement: "This was the first rotation that I felt like I was truly making a difference for my patients. Morning conversations with Dr. Knisely, rounds, topic discussions, group discussions regarding patients, and all of the assignments were very instructive." Dr. Jackie Olin is recipient of the 2019-2020 Excellence in Research and Scholarship Award. Dr. Olin joined the practice faculty at Wingate University School of Pharmacy in 2007 and currently provides clinical pharmacist services at Novant Health Presbyterian Medical Center, precepting third and fourth year student pharmacists and also providing didactic teaching at the School of Pharmacy in addition to scholarship and service. Dr. Olin's scholarly contributions earned 2 recognitions for outstanding work at the national level in 2020. Dr. Olin routinely serves as a mentor on student and pharmacy resident projects at her practice site, and she is routinely invited to speak at state and national meetings. Dr. George Shupin has been named the 2020-2021 Graduate Faculty Member of the Year. Dr. Shupin joined the Wingate faculty in 2014 as an associate professor in the Department of Physical Therapy and director of the Human Anatomy Lab. Dr. Shupin has been responsible for teaching the gross dissection anatomy course for both DPT and OTD students and has shared this content with numerous other groups on campus in both exercise science and biology, with students at SPCC, local EMT groups, and other external community members. Student evaluations have consistently been excellent, with one recent student stating, "Dr. Shupin is an excellent professor and cares about his students succeeding. He goes above and beyond to make lecture material more fun and interesting to learn about." Dr. Andy Woods is recipient of the 2020-2021 Excellence in Research and Scholarship Award. Dr. Woods joined the practice faculty at Wingate University School of Pharmacy in 2009 and currently provides clinical pharmacist services at Carolinas Medical Center in Charlotte, North Carolina, precepting third and fourth year student pharmacists and also providing didactic teaching at the School of Pharmacy in addition to scholarship and service. He published 2 manuscripts and a book chapter in 2020, all of which were related to respiratory medicine. In a year of challenges from the COVID pandemic, Dr. Woods' expertise in respiratory medicine was recognized with numerous opportunities to educate healthcare professionals on respiratory pharmacotherapy.
The saying goes, it's not how you start, but how you finish.
Never coached a day of baseball in my life.
So, although 25-year-old Steve Poston had never coached baseball in his life, he had played in college, and that was just enough to land a position as head coach for Wingate's team in 1972.
So I wanted to go down and look at the baseball field, and I did, and I couldn't find home plate. The grass was knee-high, and the infield was grown over, and I've spent my entire fall practice just trying to find home plate. So that's how I got to Wingate.
Mr. Poston remained in the position for 7 years. That was nearly 50 years ago. Since then, he's been a teacher, recruiter, fundraiser, coach, and administrator.
And I would say in 46 years, Wingate has been relentless in finding a job I can do.
Mr. Poston moved to his current position as athletic director in 2001.
I was chair of the search committee for the previous athletic director who didn't work out. And Dr. McGee said, "You did such a good job with that, you're going to do it." Years ago, well, more than 12 years ago now, but we had a retreat for all the senior staff members, and we were asked to put down our goals. And I put down, and one of my goals was, before I retire as an athletic director, I want to win the Athletic Excellence Award one time. And we won it one time 12 years in a row. So
Now make that 13.
When I started, we had roughly 300, 350 student athletes. Now we got 650, and just, then the number, and they play such a significant role on our campus.
When Mr. Poston retires at the end of this year as Vice President and Director of Athletics, he'll be the longest tenured Wingate administrator ever.
I believe the good Lord puts you in a good place and gives you an opportunity that you need to take advantage of. And I certainly feel that was the case with me. I never thought about staying here this long, but everything seemed to be an adventure for me, and there was something I joked about this a little bit with people that know my background and my career here at the university, is that I said, I'm the only person I know that's got a 3-page resume that never left the same place.
Graduates, it could be said you are the most prepared of any class to take on the unknowns of the world. You are here, having navigated a pandemic, online classes, a not-so-normal college experience the past year and a half, and still, you're celebrating this milestone. If you can manage all that, I have faith you can manage a new career and whatever else the future has in store for you. We've relied on the expertise of many to get us through this pandemic. Few have played a more important role than our guest speaker. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Mandy Cohen, a leader recognized nationally for her work as the Secretary of the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. You may have seen her many times throughout this past year, giving updates to North Carolinians about the COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Cohen was instrumental in keeping us in the know about COVID data, helping shape the state's approach to the virus, and ultimately showing us the important role health professionals play in keeping people informed. Dr. Cohen was appointed to her role with DHHS in January 2017 by Governor Roy Cooper. She has been named one of the top 25 women leaders in healthcare and was awarded the Leadership and Public Health Practice Award from Harvard University's T.H. Chan School of Public Health for her strong leadership during the COVID-19 pandemic response, including her use of data and ability to communicate with empathy, compassion, and transparency. Graduate of Cornell University, Dr. Cohen received her medical degree from the Yale School of Medicine and a master's in public health from the Harvard School of Public Health. She trained in internal medicine at Massachusetts General Hospital. She is what we would call here at Wingate a difference maker. Please welcome Dr. Cohen.
Well, hello, graduates. Congratulations. And thank you, President Brown, for the invitation to join commencement today and the kind introduction. Thank you to Provost Jeff Friedrich, Wingate's Board of Trustees, and other distinguished guests. Hello to the family and friends of today's graduates, alumni, and professors. I'm so honored to join you in celebrating your incredible accomplishments. As was mentioned, I'm a doctor by training, but I've spent the last 12 years working for either the federal or the state government, shaping the policies that govern healthcare, public health, social services, and more. And this past year, I led North Carolina's COVID pandemic response. Some of you may have seen me on TV with Governor Cooper talking about the importance of the 3 W's: wearing a mask, waiting 6 feet apart, and washing your hands. I've been called the 3 W's lady in many a Target, Costco, and Harris Teeter this year. So I know this pandemic has turned everyone's life upside down. And I know your senior year wasn't what you expected or probably hoped it would be. I'm sure there was a mix of emotions over the year at different times: sadness, worry, anger, frustration, boredom. But also, hopefully, you had time to feel joy, pride in your accomplishments, relief, hopefully at vaccinations, and love. And while this commencement has had a lot less pomp because of our circumstances, thank you for doing your part to protect and care for each other during this year. Now, this year has also brought forward important conversations about justice, equity, and the kind of community, state, country, and world we all want to build together. With all that's happening in the world, and adding to that the normal mix of emotions and challenges that come with a major life milestone, such as graduation, it is a lot. It's a lot. And your resilience and perseverance during this time is truly remarkable. The Wingate class of 2021 is now being called to step into the future with passion and energy and hope. And while the challenges ahead can feel daunting, I want to share a few pieces of advice to help you live up to Mahatma Gandhi's challenge to us all to be the change you want to see in the world. Okay, So here are the 3 pieces of advice I have as you launch into your future. First, believe in yourself. Second, be uncomfortable. And third, listen more. Okay, so those are the 3 takeaways from this little talk. But I want to tell you a few stories about each one of those 3 and why I think those 3 are critical to build on your success here at Wingate and into the future. I hope they inspire you, and I hope they fire you up to run out and make the world a better place. Okay, so the first one, believe in yourself. I know, it's kind of cliche, right? But I have found that believing in yourself are 3 of the hardest words for me to personally embrace. I know that the practicality of believing in yourself is really hard, and we all doubt ourselves along the way. So I find you really have to draw that belief and that strength, frankly, from somewhere else and use it to power your own faith in yourself. For some, it might be tapping into belief that others have in you. Other times, it might be channeling a past success, whether it's large or small. During the past year of this COVID crisis, I really had to draw on the strength of others in order to have faith in myself. It's almost too soon to properly reflect on how I conjured the strength to lead through all of the challenges of this year, but I'll tell you, there were a few times this past year when my faith waned. When I thought I was not smart enough, or this job was too big, or too frustrating, or I was just frankly too tired to keep going. But each time, I was lucky enough to have my life partner, my husband, who was able to believe in me when I doubted myself. And I'm so grateful he was there to give me a much needed pep talk, a hug, and often a tissue. He reminded me about the goal and purpose of my work, that nothing worth doing comes easy, and that I can lean on others for help, and that I wasn't alone, and that I could rise to this challenge. So my advice for you today is to think right now of that person or that success that you've had that'll help you as you find yourself in dark times. And trust me, everyone will have a dark time. Your inspiration may be the fact that you're sitting here today at graduation. You've achieved something incredible. For others, it may be the people in your life. Maybe they're sitting right next to you right now. Or maybe they're on the other side of a computer screen. It's your friends, your teachers, or maybe your family. Harness all this love, energy, and faith. Bottle it up, remember it, call upon it, and use it to believe in yourself. Because if you have faith in yourself, you will accomplish your goals. Proceed as if success is inevitable. Okay, number 2, be uncomfortable. And no, this isn't me trying to warn you that you're going to need to wear a mask forever. Being uncomfortable, to me, is really just getting out of your comfort zone, both in your personal life and your professional life. And this could be as simple as trying a new food, or maybe it's talking to a member of your own graduating class that you haven't spoken to before. Look, it's very understandable and a normal human reaction to the complex and chaotic, polarized world that we want to do things that we're comfortable with. Most of us sleep better in our own beds than we do when we're somewhere else. Most of us find comfort in watching reruns of those same TV shows we've always watched, or meeting the same friends for dinner in that same one restaurant we all love. Most of us get nervous on that first day of school or the first day of a new job because we don't know what to expect and it makes us uncomfortable. But I think being uncomfortable is the only way to truly make your biggest and most positive impact on the world. You need to open yourself up to incredible experiences that you might have missed if you only did what was comfortable. And when I thought about a story to tell you about being uncomfortable and why it was so important to your growth, I struggled to choose just one of the many, 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 many times I have felt uncomfortable in my life. I thought about telling you about the uncomfortableness I felt this past year as I stepped into a much more public job, often giving news conferences and bad news that folks didn't want to hear at those news conferences, answering hard questions from the media. But that story I kept coming back to about uncomfortableness was really my first experience really in life that made me uncomfortable, and it set the stage for others that came later. And it had nothing to do with my professional life. I was 10. And at the age of 10, I somehow convinced my parents to let me join this French exchange program where I could go to France for free, which was a big seller for my parents, and stay with a French family. So at 10 years old, I packed my bags and flew to Paris, France, where I arrived. And my first reaction was, what a mistake. I was thinking, why did my parents let me go? I had never been away from home before, and I was super, super homesick. The first problem, I barely knew any French, but the second problem is I was a picky eater. And when I saw a raw egg on top of pizza my first night in France, I thought, oh, no, 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 no. No, thank you. This is not for me. So for those first few days in France, I literally ate almost nothing. I didn't even try anything. I just didn't feel comfortable. And then finally, the mom of the French family I was staying with sat me down to tell me she's going to have to send me home unless I started eating because, you know, it's not real good for a 10-year-old to stop eating. But luckily, all was not lost because I quickly learned that France is the land of amazing bread and cheese. So that next day, I pushed past my uncomfortableness. I got more and more brave, and truly, I've never looked back. And it's thanks to that experience, I became a confident traveler, allowing me to learn about cultures all over the world, and honestly opened me up to new career opportunities that I would have never sought out. Now, I know that's somewhat of a silly story about a 10-year-old girl who was a picky eater turned food lover, but I do want to spend a moment on the broader point again about why being uncomfortable is so necessary and important. If we stay in our comfort zones, that can feel good in the moment, but it's also really limiting. You're going to miss the opportunity to understand the larger world around you and seek out your place. We need to embrace being uncomfortable in order to expand our minds and our hearts. I promise you, to achieve your goals, you are going to have to be uncomfortable, but don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be nervous. Don't be afraid to be uncomfortable. Everyone experiences it all the time. Okay, now I'm at number 3, my third piece of advice, which is listen more. And this piece of advice is grounded in the fact that no matter what you want to do, where you want to take your career, communicating effectively is going to be really important. But I want you to make sure that you or I don't think that communicating is all about talking. It's not. And as the Dalai Lama reminds us, when you talk, you are repeating what you already know, but if you listen, you can learn something new. Sharpening your listening skills will make you a better friend, a better son or daughter, a better spouse or parent, and certainly a better colleague and leader. If you truly listen and try to understand where someone is coming from, it builds trust, it builds empathy, and it builds solutions. I saw this play out many times this past year as we tried to navigate the incredibly hard decisions around COVID. Should we reopen schools? Should we keep this venue or that venue closed? Who can get access to the limited vaccines when we first had them? We had to balance the public's health and safety needs along with the needs of businesses and workers and families. And while most of what you may have seen from the governor and I this year was the talking part of communicating, I want you to make sure you knew about the hundreds and hundreds of hours we spent listening to people with all different perspectives and expertise as we tried to make hard decisions. I think all that listening paid off. An approach to this pandemic that was measured and balanced and tailored to the needs of North Carolina. And ultimately, you just look at the numbers, I think it was successful. Just last week, North Carolina was named as one of the states with the lowest number of lives lost to COVID and lowest numbers of jobs lost during this pandemic. Winston Churchill famously said, "Courage is what it takes to stand up and speak, but courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen." So have courage as you move into the future to speak your mind, but don't forget the strength needed to listen. So there you have it. My advice for you as you set off on your next adventure: believe in yourself, be uncomfortable, and listen more. If you do these things using all the knowledge and support and love you gained here at Wingate, I know the future is bright and you will be making your impact building a kinder and more just world. Thank you again for the opportunity to be with you today, and congratulations, graduates.